What's up, everyone? You're listening to Vibe Check with the Woofy, and we got a very special, somewhat different episode for you today with my guest Lamb Chop from Farcaster. I first heard Lamb Chop in a tavern where she was very down to speak her mind, and then after digging to her feet a bit more, I noticed that her vibe and style were pretty distinctly different from maybe the typical Farcaster user. With that in mind, I thought it'd be fun to have her on Vibe Check and learn a little bit about her, how she got here, and maybe most importantly, what's keeping her around. I hope this conversation is informative to anyone who's trying to bring interesting people to their platform or app, but I won't lie, it's a little bit hectic. So if you just want to vibe out and have fun, I think it should be good for that too. Now, without further ado, here's Vibe Check 11 with Lamb Chop.
Okay.
We're in. It's Vibe Check with the Woofy. Yeah, what's up? It's Lamb Chop.
Hey, it's Lamb Chop. And the Woofy.
I'm sorry?
I wanted to say your name, the Woofy.
The Woofy, yeah.
I've been practicing prior to the show, so I could say it right.
Yeah, you're perfect. I'm glad you've been practicing and taking this probably more seriously than you need to. But I'm really excited to talk to you. I was talking to you before this, just on sort of roughly my idea for this episode of the pod, where it's like there's a bunch of what I would consider sort of bullshit, but also some good discussion around like who's a good user, like how do we grow the network? Like it can't just be crypto nerds all the time if it's going to be successful. And like founders have reach, but like there's other cool people out there. And then I heard you on a tavern speaking your mind very honestly, and I thought to myself, I think it'd be really cool to have Lamb Chop on, learn a little bit about who she is, why she likes Farcaster, and not necessarily to say that, you know, everyone has to be like you, but I think for people on the network who care about it, who want to see it grow, want to see it proliferate, want like more unhinged content, which like I'm a huge fan of, we could talk and just learn a little bit about who you are and how you found Farcaster and stuff. So if I normally have like a very like succinct intro prepared, but I'm purposely going to this one a little bit blind, so I can have the serendipity of learning about you with the audience. So if you want to just take a moment and tell us about yourself and who you are, and then we'll get into some Farcaster stuff after that.
Hey, my name is Lamb Chop. I'm a graphic designer. Oh my God, I'm nervous. Before discovering Farcaster, I worked at a weed company as operations and a bit of marketing and design. And then before that, I was teaching after school, and I was a substitute teacher for a little bit at a Quaker school. Yeah.
We're gonna have to dig into that at some point. You're the second ex-teacher I've had on in a row now. I taught Kung Fu for like 14 years.
Wow.
So I'm starting to suspect that I just like hanging out with people who understand how to talk to kids, because I'm a child. But yeah, that's I think we're all kind of children, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to, like, right after college, I just needed a break from design, because I went to design school for 4 years and I loved it, but also it's a lot. It was a lot, so I needed a break. And for me, what I did was I found a cool school that was a little bit more progressive in the way they taught their kids, you know, very future based learning. You know, they were already thinking about VR. I went in there talking about how I think kids should learn about biodegradable fabrics and stuff. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, all right, this is cool. This is cool. But yeah, so working with kids, I definitely realized that I am still a kid, and they helped me kind of heal this trauma I had when I was a kid. Just kind of like, I was very lonely, you know? Like I grew up with a birthmark on my left hand, and a lot of kids were just like judgmental, and they didn't really want to play with me a lot. So I was very to myself. But then when I went back to teach, everyone was all the kids were so cute, and then this new generation of children were just so like welcoming to one another, you know? It was
Yeah,
just so sweet to watch, I
for
can tell
sure.
you.
No, I'll show my age a little bit, but I was a Montessori kid back in the day when like there weren't any. There was like one Montessori school in the city of Chicago, and I was talking with Coach Cole about this on last episode that like there is something to be said for like the changing of the education system for like kids today not needing to and like very frequently not going through like the most traditional like version of schooling and then also being exposed to a bunch of like random shit on social media where
Oh,
I think there's a bunch of terrible shit out there, like for sure. But I do think we sort of sometimes miss the forest for the trees. And like there's a like education has never been more accessible for like if you want to learn about something. There's not a single thing in the world that you can't like get an expert's opinion on YouTube or Twitter. Like it's pretty wild actually. It's overloading at times. But before we dig into all that, because I think I have some theories now about outsiders liking Farcaster that I'm gonna have to continuously test. Like you have to be a little bit like off, right? Like you can't like just love that the thing that everyone else is loving. Like you got to be a little bit like off tilt, right?
yeah.
Tell me about how you found Farcaster because I have no idea. And this is like I think something a lot of people like. How do I don't want to use normies. It's such like it feels derogatory, but like not crypto nerds. Like how do they
Yeah.
find Farcaster and like why do they stick around?
Well, truthfully, I been interested in crypto or thought it was cool since like 2019 or 2020. And I tried to invest in Dogecoin and stuff in college and just experiment with that stuff and NFTs. I looked into it a little bit because I always found the crypto industry cool because I associate it with robotics. I associate it with space. I associate it with my favorite planet, Saturn. Like that's how I envision it. I know that's so silly, but it's just like chrome in my mind.
No, I don't think it's silly at all. Like there's people that I would smarter is a strong word. There's people that other people would definitely consider much smarter than me that talk about like this idea of like new frontiers, right? And like it
Yeah.
used to be like whatever 100 years ago, a couple 100 years ago, there were still like islands to explore. You know, they were colonizing the U.S. Like that's what like forward thinkers like thought about, like new frontiers and like land to explore. But we pretty much filled up the earth for better or for worse. And
Yeah.
now there's like I think people who think about frontiers who want new things, sounds like you do. It's like space is definitely one of them. AI and VR is like another like place to go, right? And crypto is like another place to go. It's another digital space where like you can own things. You can like transact with your friends in a way that's not just like handing them dollars or trading sheeps for chickens, right? Like that used to be the constraint that we had. And now this is like a new frontier. So I don't think it's silly at
Yeah.
all for
And
it.
it combines kind of, it's almost like a little game too, which
It's totally a game.
I love games, so it's cool. And it's something that I can see very monetizable to kids in the future growing up with like these Roblox kids. They're already doing everything that's going on in Farcaster. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I swear.
Say more. Tell me more about Roblox because I
Okay.
love games and I don't have kids, so I don't know about Roblox. So say
So
more.
right now, my sister is my intern. I'm paying her in Robux. She doesn't want money. She wants Robux because she's saving up for this okay, basically a rare NFT. Let's okay in Roblox where you put it on your character and your character has no head and it's the ultimate status symbol on Roblox and it's just like everyone wants it. So she's working for that and it only sells in October. So she's like grinding trying to make that Robux for this release, you know?
But I
Um
mean, it's a board ape, right? She's grinding for a board ape effectively.
yes. Yes, because as soon as you buy that for your account triples in value. So let's say you want to sell your account, it's you're set. You're gonna make some money, like real money.
Right. So these kids understand the idea of like digital goods, exchanging with each other, and they
Yes.
would probably love to like, I don't know, port their account and like take that value to like a different game. But it's like hard to like, right? It's hard to visualize those things sometimes, I think, for them.
Yeah. It's hard for me too. It's real money, like the thing that she's working for, it costs $328 US dollars once you switch it, which is like that's
Maybe I
money.
got to be investing in Roblox instead of Ethereum right now. We're down bad right now.
Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Okay, so it's a game. Is Farcaster a game?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Is it?
Take a
Is that
guess.
a question?
Yeah, that's the guess.
Okay.
Would you? Yeah, take a
That
guess.
seems like very pokery. Poker,
Pokery. Say
like a
more.
lot of poker games. Poker. But anyways, back to how I found Farcaster. I found Farcaster through TikTok, basically. Long story short.
Shut up. Seriously? How?
This one Farcaster user, Sophius, um, posted something about degen. I didn't really understand what degen was, or really understand what degen was for a while, truthfully. But I still thought it was cool to check it out, and I just used Farcaster as a normal social media platform at the end of the day, and still to this day, that's what I'm doing.
It's funny. Like I don't know if anyone else. I mean, I'm definitely one of the more prolific TikTok users on Farcaster. But when you came on and I saw your content for the first time, I was like, this shit does seem kind of TikTok coded, in a good way for me at least. Like I think in crypto we say like unhinged a lot of the time, but I think there's also sort of a I don't know. I think it's probably best encapsulated in like the whole brat thing. How it's like it's almost anti-meme. It's like, it's like just a fucking green box. And like how can that be? And like there's all these fucking nerds out here like trying to do these like weird, like very like cerebral like memes about like, oh, I'm gonna incept this idea into your head. And it's like, nah, just put words up there. Like that shit's funny too sometimes if you can do it
Yeah.
properly. But that's cool. So you're using it. So you found it through TikTok. I think I have a tendency to like bury the important information. I'm glad we're not doing it this time. But like you can get users on TikTok. So I want to, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a real thing.
It,
Um,
it to me it was perfect because I'm not on Twitter. I do not use Twitter. I had a really bad experience on Twitter when I was younger. So for me, I'm never going to use that app again personally. So when I found Farcaster, it kind of like had that energy of Twitter
yeah,
that I missed because I loved the format of Twitter. And one thing I don't like about TikTok and especially Instagram, like I never took seriously, truthfully. But TikTok, I definitely tried to take seriously, and I was doing pretty good with numbers, for a little bit. But then I kind of got depressed and stopped wanting to take videos every day. And the
yeah,
thing with TikTok and Instagram, truthfully, you have to do it every single day, or else it kind of tanks your numbers. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Your algo rating, like
Yeah,
whatever China's doing, they don't like it unless you're doing it every day.
yeah, exactly. And it's I get it. Yeah, you gotta be committed to see growth, but I can't commit to like being in front of a camera every day. I'm not like I understand aesthetics, but I'm not the type to take aesthetic videos every day either. So I
Yeah,
just couldn't make content for those platforms every single day, you know?
yeah, I feel you. Yeah, no, Farcaster definitely has a slightly different vibe, but like the format feels familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we've dug in a little bit on like how you found it, but I'm also really curious, like you found it through TikTok and like I was saying before, I'm seeing you pop up everywhere now in a good way. Like I'm like a fucking like power user for sure. Like in taverns, like on like okay banger streams, like
It's because everyone on here is so cool. Like,
okay. Is that it? Is that the simple explanation? Like people are
yeah,
just dope, so you stuck around.
yes.
I guess do you feel go.
No. You go. You go. You go.
I
Now
was
I go.
gonna say like did you feel like you had trouble like jumping in? Like I hear so let me like put context for you. I talked to a lot of folks, mostly in the crypto industry, but outside of it as well, who say Firecast is like really hard to jump into, right? Like either they feel like they're not getting the traction they think they deserve. We can talk about entitlement. I've got strong feelings. I don't know if you do. I feel like that you gotta earn that shit. Otherwise, like skill issue, shut the fuck up. Um, but I also talk to people who are just like, I just don't get it. Like, I don't know how to find people I fuck with. I don't know how to find people that like I like their content. Like, who do I follow? Like, is this Reddit? Like, what are these channels? Like, they just jump in, get confused, and leave. So I guess the question to you is, were you confused? Did you work through it? Were you never really confused? Was it pretty natural? Like, what was your experience of getting?
I was confused. I still am
Okay.
confused a lot. Like, I'm a very confused person generally. But one thing I did do was I went straight to the design channel because like at the end of the day, I'm a designer. That is my number one love in life, design.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then great, I'm very grateful for Proxy Studios because they like let me into their group chat, and there I just asked a bunch of crypto questions all the time because I had a lot. I had a lot. And
Yeah.
everyone was really
I
nice.
still have a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but when I first logged in, I remember just seeing a lot of AI images, and that made me kind of happy. That made
That
me
made
kind
you
of
happy.
happy. You
Dude,
know,
so Jack is one of my boys, and he was like, I think he was like the second vibe check episode that I published, and he was going off about how much AI shit he has to ban because he fucking hates it. Come with values, come with content, come with like quality, like believe in yourself. He was like not about that life, but you're pointing at me like you want to say something about that.
yes, because I saw so much AI, I was like, oh, all right, there's a market for some real shit.
So you
There's
didn't like AI content. You were just like, I can smoke these. Like I can dunk on these people. Is what you're saying.
humbly, yeah. And
No need to be humble here. This is a safe space.
no, yeah, like there was a lot of just quite literally fake computer shit. And yeah,
No, but that makes sense though. Actually, like if I'm gonna like sort of distill down your journey, it's like you saw something interesting on TikTok and like you don't fuck with Twitter, which I think is like that's probably a lot of people actually. And
yeah,
then you hopped in and like you were super confused, but you figured out how to get to the design channel. And then then two things happened simultaneously, which was really helpful. You saw an opportunity because the network. That's what I saw when I jumped in. I was like, dude, there's like 10 people here. Like I can fucking like I can be myself and like befriend these people. Like one of the guys from A16Z like followed me right away. I was like, what is happening on the internet right now? Like this dude,
literally.
like, what is happening? And then I'm explaining to people like, why do you like Farcaster? I was like, you wouldn't believe who's following me on Farcaster. You would
Yeah,
never
right.
believe it. And then Proxy Studio, but then Proxy Studio helped you out too. There were helpful people, invited you into a chat, like welcomed
That's
you, and that's a big deal
yeah.
too.
And truthfully, like when I found this app, I was down bad. Like I just got fired from this weed company, and I loved that job. I loved work. I love weed. I loved working there. I was so sad, and I just like needed some hope. I needed like a little inkling of hope, and this was my little hope. And then I my mindset when I found it was like, I'm gonna make this work. I don't care. And when I go into things with that mindset, I will never fail because like I am very determined. Like almost like
I get that from your cast. Yeah, I get that from your
okay.
cast. Absolutely, yeah, that's
Yeah,
coming true. But I feel you.
it's
I was at another company and I was down bad in my own way, just like short on engineers. And like I found this Farcaster place and I was just like, holy shit, it's the future. Like I'm looking at it right now.
that's what I
Like
thought. Yeah.
I was like, this is it. And then I was like, I got to get everyone in here. And then when I got really down bad was I tried to onboard all these people, all my friends, and like I literally I was at a conference and I invited the CMO, like the head of marketing for Polkadot. I was in the Polkadot ecosystem, and I was like, this is it. Like this is the place you got to be. I swear to God, like hop in now. Like I'm giving you crazy alpha, even though I'm just some like rando as far as you're concerned, because you get paid the buku bucks at like a giant foundation. Crickets for like a couple months. And then I hear back from her. She's like, hey, I'm trying to get my team to sign up from Farcaster. Like, but the sign-up's not working. Do you know if something's wrong? I was like, no, these invites are like super hard to come by. I
Oh,
gave you one of my very limited invites to try to like invite you into the fold. You haven't posted a single thing. Like you're just trying to lurk around. And they're like, oh, okay, well, let me get back to you. And then like, of course, it's like a couple months after that, Frames blows up, they're getting written up, they do all this other crazy shit. I'm just like, man, I was really out here trying to help people. But at the same time, like, I feel very lucky that I had your same mentality, that I was like, you know what, I was going through my own personal journey. Trauma is a strong word, but working through some like I want to be myself everywhere. I'm tired of pretending like too much in these different zones.
yeah,
And I need to bring a more authentic version of myself everywhere I go if I'm going to be a happy person. And
yeah.
like, if I'm going to do it anywhere, I could do it with these 10 other people on Farcaster because I think they're all cool. They're all super welcoming. And like, I don't know, like a safe space on the internet seems almost like antithetical to each other. But if one exists, it has to be Farcaster. Like it just
I would
has to be.
agree. And I pray it stays like that.
Say it
So
again.
I hope it stays like that. And I just pray it stays like with that, like, I don't know, it's
You know,
kindness.
I know what you mean, and it's funny because I've been around year and a half now, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and every couple months, everyone gets mad that it's changing. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like the crypto market cycles or like Dan launching new features, but like I've seen this happen so many times now that like on the one hand, I think it's like good that there's like what I call like Farcaster antibodies for bullshit, right? Like whenever brands come in and they're just like clearly shilling and they're like, how come I can't get engagement? I'm like, because no one cares. Like all you had on Twitter was a bunch of bots, and like Elon was happy because you were selling ads. That doesn't make your content good or anyone want to connect with you, right? So like they have those antibodies for that very naturally based on how it was the network was seeded with like interesting people. But I
Mhm.
also think it's kind of dumb at this point because like whether it changes or not is up to us, which is a lot of reason why I have this podcast, right? Like you got welcomed in my proxy studio, but the next time you see someone, you're going to welcome someone in too. Like I'm very
Yeah.
confident, right? 100%. So I think as long as you know people like us keep trying to keep it real, then I'm not too concerned. I don't have the
Yeah.
energy to be concerned about those things too much anymore.
Yeah. I try to
Um,
be positive and just like, I use Farcaster for what I use it for, and I try to stay in my lane for the most part. For the most part.
it's all good. Get out and get onto some other lanes once in a while. I'd encourage you, but I try to stay fairly like concise in the interest of like keeping our readers, not readers, our listeners like engaged for a good amount of time, learn something and have something fun. But I think we've already learned some interesting stuff about like how you got here and like why you like it. Um, why are you or not why are you, but like are you looking to get anything out of the Farcaster network? Because I think it's great when people contribute. I think it's really important, but I'm like a firm believer that like sustainable systems, you're allowed to like gain value too, right? Like just like independent contractors should be able to charge to like live great lives. You know, growth people should be able to connect with the users that they want to. Like it shouldn't. I think it's really important people contribute, but I think the two-way flow of energy or like value is really important as well. So as someone who's like relatively new, I would say, and like having a lot of fun. I think having fun. Confirm? Yeah, having fun. Yeah, for sure. Are there anything you're trying to get out of the Farcaster network? Because as again, as context, I think there's a lot of folks out there who are trying to deliver value back to users who have found it recently. But I think a lot of them are pretty confused as to what those people are looking for.
Yeah. Um, I guess I'm looking for what I'm looking for in life, because I'm I always have the same goals, and that's just to grow as a designer and
Yeah.
ideally have a established firm at one point in my life that I'm proud of.
So my job as like the growth BD like voice that I want to be, I like force people to kind of like shill themselves and like say what the CTA is, what the call to action is. So like, can people
Mhm.
reach out to you for like design help? Like, are you
Oh yeah,
freelancing?
of
Yeah.
course. Yes, any memes, making memes, design, Photoshop, a branding, typography work, um, layouts, and not websites. I don't.
Not websites. No websites. You hear that, audience? No websites.
Even though that's
No.
where the money is. I wish. One day I'm gonna get into websites, but not yet. And then I'll be the best at websites. So
I
everyone who's making website, beware, because once I get serious, it's over.
oh shit. We're launching a new website for Opacity next week. I'm like a little bit
Beware.
yeah, dude. Antimo was already hating on our current one, so I hope he likes the next one. I hope you like it too. All right, this has been, I don't know, I had a shitload of fun.
Thank you
I
for
hope you did too.
thank you so much for having me. Actually, this was really fun, and I was so nervous, but this is chill.
It's very chill. I'm a chill person.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
you feel
easy, right?
happier. You feel like you're being your full self now in life. You mentioned that earlier.
Man, I hate it when people ask me like really good questions because then I gotta take this shit like extra seriously. I am getting closer every day.
Oh,
It's a move. I think it's a moving target. Honestly, I think people can, will, and constantly change. So
yeah,
it's not a destination by any stretch of the imagination. But I feel like I'm getting closer all the time. Projects like this podcast really stretch me in terms of like my ability to dial in like what I'm interested in and what I think will be helpful to my own personal journey, but also simultaneously be helpful to people listening.
yeah,
So that's sort of my North Star. And I'm switching up the content style a lot with this season to bring on people that not that like I wouldn't want to talk to, but like it like a past life of me where I'm like very focused on like follower count. You know what I mean? Like wouldn't necessarily like pull you or Coach Cole in, but it's been really fucking rewarding. It's been a shitload of fun, and the more that I can do that, the happier I am with that personal journey towards the ever elusive authentic self.
beautiful.
Last closing comment, because you said it earlier, and I have it written down. And I've been getting a lot of fucking memes about what a Virgo I am. Uh,
Nice. I'm a
tell me
Cancer.
about
I wish I was a
your.
Virgo.
You
That's
wish
my,
you were a Virgo. It's a stressful life.
but you very uh meticulous.
Meticulous is a good word,
Yeah,
to my own detriment at times. But the last question I have that I want to sign off with is
yeah.
tell me about Saturn.
Oh, Saturn. Saturn is the planet of chaos. So don't ask me about like the scientific facts around Saturn. I don't know. I'm not okay. I just love Saturn because if you look up what Saturn sounds like when you go into Saturn, like through the rings, it sounds like pure hell. It sounds like screaming destruction and despair. I'm serious. Yeah, if you look up the sounds of Saturn,
No, I believe you. I'm just tripped out. That's all.
yeah, so Saturn is just, and it's just so beautiful. It's a beautiful color wave. It's very like sandy, you know.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, I think that's a good bombshell to end on. Beautiful chaos is absolutely how I describe your account. So
Thank
if you're
you.
not following Lamb Shop, go give her a follow. This has been such a treat, such a pleasure to codify, I think, some really interesting stuff. You can get users on TikTok. You should help people into the ecosystem. It's not fully fledged. It's worth it. And don't be shy of asking questions and jump into some channels that you want. At least that's for the Farcaster portion. For the authenticity portion, keep at it. It's fine. You won't ever get there, but that's okay too.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts?
No, this was cool.
This was
Follow me, I guess.
follow Lamb Chop if you need design help. I
Yeah.
as a casual viewer of her feed, I highly recommend her. And yeah, that's been a vibe check with Lamb Chop. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Check you guys next time.